Imagine a world where everyone is inspired to learn. I'm a very lucky person, and I'm lucky because I work every day with inspirational people who help others learn in exciting ways. And what I'd like to do is give some examples from my day job, as William said, as director of the Open University in Ireland, but also as founding chairman of OUA Music Centre. And one is sort of in the field of formal education, the other is in informal education. So in the Open University, my mission is to inspire and encourage people to undertake higher education, particularly those people who don't see themselves as traditional university students. That's a hard job, but it's an easy job at the same time. And some of the examples I give will explain exactly what that confusing statement means. Technology has really helped us as educators. Anyone with a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer can ask a question of the internet and usually get a million answers. Now, the challenge for educators is, how can we put a wrap around that sort of easy technology to guide learners to get the skills, to get the enjoyment that they want? Now, in the Open University, we do things on television quite a bit. We do co-productions with the BBC. You've probably seen some of them, things like Coast, Bang Goes the Theory, and of course, our very, very famous program, The Frozen Planet. So let's tell the story of The Frozen Planet, a wonderful TV program, but why did we get involved with the BBC to produce this? The reason was to take people on an educational journey. Frozen Planet averaged 8 million viewers from primetime BBC television every Wednesday night for a number of weeks. Out of that, we had a call to action. Go onto our website, go on to Open Learn. 300,000 people did that. From that, 115,000 people explored some interactive learning on another website. Out of that, 110,000 people tried a course. 15,000 of them actually finished the course. And the real win for us was over 600 people enrolled on a proper educational credit-bearing qualification in science. So that's why we do that sort of wraparound. The key thing for us is, at every point of that journey that you see there, someone is learning something. So whether you're sitting back in your sofa watching The Frozen Planet, doing some passive learning, what we want to do is to get you to lean forward in your seat and do some active learning that potentially, if you want it, will get you a qualification. So aside of television programs, we also make quite a lot of use of iTunes University. That's part of the iTunes family, and recently Apple announced that over 1 billion downloads of free educational content have been downloaded across the world. The Open University is right at the top of that list of universities, along with Stanford in the US. So this is a book, just as you would normally see a book, flicking around, looking at what's in the content. So this is about Schubert's Lieder. So let's see if we can find something out about the song. So we're reading a little bit about it now, turning pages, and here's where we get some of the clever bit. You get to hear the song. You want to read the lyrics? You press another button or you click another part of the screen. For those that are more musically minded, you can look at the score. And for those that want to see a bit of the history of it, you can actually call up the original manuscript that Schubert used. Now, I think that's cool. But when I talk to my colleagues in the Open University, they tell me, no, John, it's not cool at all, because technology's moved on. So the latest range of ebooks that we're doing on the iTunes store are like this. This is called Moon Rocks, and you'll be surprised to find it's about rocks that you find on the moon. But what's really clever about this prototype is that you can see a tutor and a student interacting together using words and using a virtual microscope. So I'm going to show this very short clip to show you the way the technology of ebooks is moving, and this will inspire and empower learners.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Simon.
How are you getting on with that moon rock?
Okay, well, I'm having problems identifying the olivine.
Okay. Let's take a look at it together. I'll take control. There are quite a few olivines. They're quite small and they're embedded in the pyroxenes, Andy. Let's move across to the rotation. In fact, even in cross-polarized light, you can't see it. Can you take control and go into that rotation? Now you can see just there, the pyroxine's gone into extinction.
So you're saying the yellow crystal's olivine, but how do I know it's not a pyroxene?
It's the cleavage. You can see the cleavage in the pyroxene. It's got long, straight cleavage, and the olivine has that rounded shape and no cleavage. You can see cracks just going across it.
So that's formal learning in a quite exciting environment, using technology and touching people. The second part of my talk is a bit more informal. It's about a project that I was involved in about 5 years ago. It's an interesting story. I was approached by a group of people, some of whom are in that photograph. Mike Edgar from the BBC, Gary Lightbody from Snow Patrol, but also not pictured, people like David Matchett from Third Bar Development, Stuart Bailey from the BBC, Martin Neal from No More Art, and Lisa McElherron from the Northern Ireland Community and Voluntary Action Centre. The big idea was, how can we make it better for musicians in Northern Ireland to get a career? So what I showed you with the Open University, there's a lot of digital stuff. What we were really talking about was bricks and mortar. A place where young people could meet, share ideas, get a drummer, meet an accountant, meet a solicitor, and begin to generate income for themselves as musicians and to move forward. So big idea, no money, no support. So the skill set that I was able to bring was a little bit of networking, but also getting people that would give us their time, their talent, and their services free of charge. So we almost begged, stole, and borrowed, but we didn't do any stealing. But we got people to give us free business plans, we got people to give us free legal advice, we got people to do graphics, we got people to do loads of things, and some of them are in this room, so take a pat on the back. So what did we do? We found a huge building in Cathedral Quarter in Belfast, 15,000 square feet, totally empty. It was a former bonded whiskey warehouse back in the day, and then it was the home for outlet recordings in the 1980s and the 1990s. So again, we'd no money. What did we do? We got some helpers to come in. This is a man called Jimmy Symington, a very famous musician in Northern Ireland. Jimmy spent 2 weeks on top of metal shelves, taking them apart to create a performance area for us. Jimmy was very green. He was a good recycler. He used those shelves to build a stage, as you can see there. Then when we started to prove the concept, people got interested in what we were doing. And we were so grateful to the Paul Hamlin Foundation and to the Joe Strummer Foundation for New Music, because they gave us money. Joe Strummer Foundation gave us money for rehearsal rooms, so bands could play, get to know what they're doing, and write songs, and you'll see some of that later today. The vision then moved into something else. We started to put in a bit of a cafe space. Belfast City Council got involved because they saw we were thinking about selling the musical heritage of Northern Ireland. So we became a tourist facility, and photos like this appeared in the national press. Then we started to do some community outreach and some education. This is Carrie Davenport, one of Northern Ireland's top photographers, and she's doing a digital photography class in West Belfast. So we just didn't keep in the building, we went outside. We also set up a museum because, believe it or not, Northern Ireland punches above its weight in terms of music. This exhibit was donated by the family of the late Gary Moore, who was a very, very famous guitarist with Thin Lizzy. That brought us additional people into the building. So you're getting that hot pot of people sharing ideas and moving forward. And this is our class of 2012. This group of young musicians went through a program called Scratch My Progress. Now, don't ask me about the title. Just believe me, a wonderful course, bringing in accountancy support and legal support from people all over the world. So you could say, was building an OEM music centre a hard job? Was it an uphill struggle? You'd expect me to say no, it was a walk in the park. It was very hard work. But what made it work for the small community of a board, the small community of a staff, and the small community of volunteers was we had something in our DNA that actually arose in the late 1970s. It was the spirit of punk rock music. Because at that time, people like Terry Hooley, people like the Undertones did it for themselves. And you're wondering where I'm going on this, because where I'm going on this is the fact that a creative spirit in Northern Ireland kind of fostered itself in the darkest of times. And now as we're moving into better times, we're really starting to flourish. So aside of OUA Music Centre, we now in Northern Ireland have a fantastic film and television production setup. Game of Thrones is filmed 5 minutes away from here. And tomorrow, you need to go out to the cinemas because a new major film about the punk rock scene in Northern Ireland, which was written, acted, directed, produced, filmed, and the music's all from Northern Ireland, goes on general release in the UK and Ireland. This is a story I want to finish with. It's a trailer from Good Vibrations.
Once upon a time in the city of Belfast, there lived a boy named Terry.
Do you want to come back to my mum and dad's?
No. Do you want to go back to my mum and dad's?
No. I want to open a record shop.
We had every kind of beautiful record on our shelves. I'll put that record out.
You're pissed.
So what? You're making a record.
Will you record us too?
I'm not that pissed.
If we don't get a record in soon, it'll be too late. What'd you say your name was? Fergal. Fergal Sharkin.
That's the best thing I ever recorded.
Everybody has to hear them. Everybody.
Do they have any good-looking friends?
What is wrong with you people? It was all gonna be absolutely fine. Trust me.
You gave me the best 2 minutes of my life.
John, hey.
It's so good, I'm going to do something I've never done before.
We made it. We cracked the code. We did it without them. Money couldn't buy what we've just done.
Good Vibrations isn't a record shop. It's not a label. It's a way of life.
So, imagine a Northern Ireland where everyone is inspired to learn. It's easy if you try. Thank you.